It's 100.3 Philly's R&B. Mina Saywhat in your midday. I am so honored to have our morning show host here. You live, you know, Amanda, by the time you're gone, I'm coming in. Sometimes we're passing each other, but it's nice to have you in. Amanda Seals from the Amanda Seals Morning Show is here joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Girl, we've been talking about your documentary here in the office. We just had the screening, your political comedy. We've been, you know, telling people to check it out, your documentary.
And Amanda We Trust.
Can you talk about that? Because we love what you bring to mornings. It's like that feel of comedy meets politics meets entertainment. That's what this documentary is. Talk about it.
You know, I'm on the show. I really try my best to find ways to like inform as well as entertain. And then as a comic, I do the same thing on stage. And so with this doc, it's the same vibe. Like, I really feel like a lot of folks don't understand how much they don't know, and that what you don't know can hurt you, particularly when it comes to politics. We look around at what's going on in the nation right now. If you just literally like pull your head up for 5 minutes just to look around at what's going on politically in the nation, you start to realize like, oh, they really pulling a fast one on us. Like, they're doing a lot of stuff that is going to have repercussions for years and years and years. And it's on the level of like our civil rights. It's on the level of our voting rights. It's on the level of women's rights. You know, I mean, it's just across all boards, and it's really just trying to preserve power. So as a people, we got to know that we're the ones who are supposed to have the power.
Right.
So that's what this documentary really tries to do, is tries to just really, through a humorous way, kind of illuminate for folks, hey, y'all got to get more interested in knowing what's going on so that we can actually change what's going on.
Right. In Amanda We Trust, when did that title come to you?
In Amanda We Trust, I can't remember whose idea it was. Actually, because that wasn't my idea. I feel like somebody was like, oh, you should call it In Amanda We Trust.
Right.
And, because the concept was that we wanted to go back to DC, and we knew we wanted to do like these interviews with people in DC, and that it was going to be around me actually like running for office, you know, and
which I can see. I can so see that happening.
People always tell me that. People always tell me, you should run for office. You should run for office. And so I was like, let's build something around that.
I see it.
But the beauty is that when you have people in a room just spitballing, you know, you get an idea. You're like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's roll with that. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. I find it incredibly inspiring that you're financing it on your own. And you really like, you teamed up with what? Patreon to release
put it out? Yep.
Right. So can you talk about that as a woman entrepreneur, just really investing in yourself and this documentary?
So, you know, a lot of people know that the Writers Guild of America is on strike. You know, the Screen Actors Guild, they're on strike as well. And I'm a member of the Screen Actors Guild, and I'm about to be a member of the Writers Guild. I just need like one more job. But, you know, they're on strike because, well, we're on strike because it's not a fair exchange between the creatives and the folks who are distributing the work, right? There's a idea of like a gatekeeper kind of thing where they get to basically say, well, you can't put this out without us. And so now we get to take all of this off top. So I really started to not like that for a while before this strike. And I also felt like the type of work that I want to do, they weren't really trying to show love to.
Right.
So it was like, okay, I just got to make a way my own way. I'm trying to I've always been somebody where I won't let somebody's no stop me from creating my own yes. And I will say this, it doesn't mean that it's going to be easier. You know, it's more difficult. There's also just a lot of learning all the time. But what I feel is fulfilled because I know that like I'm building into my own space. And I'm not draining myself to build somebody else's space who doesn't even appreciate it.
Or pays you well.
I mean, this has been a journey, but it's really let me know that this is where I'm supposed to be in terms of an independent. And, you know, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And I will say that. I think that there's this false sense of like making everybody feel like you should be an entrepreneur. You know, you look on the TikToks, everybody and their mother is like, where's your LLC? You should be and it's like
hair products.
Come on, we shouldn't have to, everybody shouldn't have to be an entrepreneur. But the reality is that you got to know yourself. You got to know what spaces you work best in. And I work best for myself. And so I've had to just, you know, hit the ground running. And luckily I have people that will, you know, for instance, like my homegirl the other day was like, yo, here's this great marketing book that you should check out. Right. So I'm like, oh, okay. But when you're in this space, you start opening your mind to learning all the time. And it's been really dope to just get this on the road and get it in front of y'all and see the fruits of my labor.
Yeah. I really like that brand that you have that mixes like politics and comedy. Why do you think that's needed in today's world? Is it to make politics more like appealing to the masses?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely. I mean, so in the documentary, we just do a real basic show of like how much we know about pop culture versus how much we know about politics, right? And it's the kind of thing that on its surface, it's like, ha, 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 ha. But then when you think about it, you're like, dang, why do I know how many members of the Wu-Tang there are, but I don't know how many members of Congress there are?
Or who my senators or
like
House of Reps are.
Why can I name all the kids on the Cosby Show, but I can't name my district, the district attorney in my district? You know, like these are the things that. It's not to say that this is, of course, common knowledge. It's not. It's something you have to seek out, right? But it's very important because ultimately these people make decisions about how you live your life, right? And I think when it comes to bringing the entertainment into it, it just makes it more palatable for people. We're just in a very sensory overload kind of world right now. Like you're on your phone, you're scrolling, literally within 5 seconds you can go from like sad to happy to mad to like romantic, just scrolling your phone. So you need to be able to keep up with people's like shifting attention span. And so that's where I'm really working on making sure that my entertainment value matches the information value.
Yeah, and that's important because I don't know, for whatever reason, people are just not tuned into the politics and how it affects their lives.
Because it's not fun.
Right. That's it.
Everybody just want to have fun.
They
know that. That's why they're like, sports. Yeah, pay attention to sports. Like, if you notice, like, it really is a concerted effort to keep people from just not wanting to actually, like, know about the real things. You know, we are overrun, even with the way that news is given to us now. For so many places, news used to be just the facts, journalism. But in so many of those spaces, whether it's CNN or MSNBC or the New York Times, it's all op-eds. So a lot of times you can't even tell, like, is this someone's opinion or is this like the actual fact? On my show right here, the Amanda Seales Show, I try my best to give y'all the fact and then give you my opinion.
Sprinkle, right.
Yeah, like you're going to get the fact, but now you're going to get my opinion.
Right.
And I think it's really important that we learn how to tell the difference. And so, you know, we got to make sure that it's like I'm making pizza. We got to make sure that we can understand what we're reading. We don't. They have done such a good job. And when I say they, I just mean like the powers that be of making America this place of like, just, I don't know.
Disenfranchised. People don't feel part of the process, so they turn off. And they don't tap in.
Yeah, they don't tap in. They turn off, they don't tap in, and they think that turning off is somehow something radical. People really think like not voting is radical. And if you're listening to me and you're like, because you don't know, I do know. I do know. And not voting, there's nothing radical in not voting if you don't have any plan behind that, right? Like there's this concept of like, you know, they need to earn my vote. Okay. So then if they don't earn your vote, so you think that you not voting is somehow like a slap to them? Like you got them?
It's a slap to you.
1 million%.
These are the people that are making the laws that govern us.
They're still going to get in the position.
Right.
I don't understand that logic. It's like I saw somebody the other day, you know, was talking about like the Republicans, they want us to take our kids out of their schools. That's what they want. That's what they want. And I said, you know what? Here's the thing. At a certain point, we have to ask ourselves, how long do we put our children in harm's way for the sake of proving a political point? Right? Like, I get it that Republicans are absolutely making it their business to try to undermine public schools. They're absolutely making their business, particularly in the southern states, they're making it their business to try to create environments where people who are not white are not going, or people who are not even progressive, because even white progressive people don't belong in those spaces. Like people who are not progressive, people who are not about community, they're trying to create spaces where those people do not feel comfortable. And then folks are like, yeah, but we still need to keep our children there because we can't let them win. And I'm of a mind at this point where it's like, we got to start thinking about things beyond just trying to stick it to the man. There's other ways that we need to preserve ourselves that will do that.
I wonder, how do you feel about the two-party system? Do you think it's still, you know, valid in today's world?
I don't think it was ever valid, but it is what it is. You know, that's the reality. It is what it is. It's not valid, but it is what it is. And until there is a real concerted effort at changing that versus just talking about it, it is what it is. I mean, ultimately in America, the two-party system was created at a time when you were only dealing with a very small amount of people, land-owning white men. So it was a lot easier, you know, to manage that. And there was a very clear line. There was the people who believe in slavery and its economic value, and then folks who weren't. So, and again, it's not that they didn't believe in slavery. They just didn't believe in the economic value, okay? Because sometimes we act like the Union, like people who were up north were like somehow like not racist.
Right.
They may not have believed in slavery, but they were still racist. But I just say all that to say that when it comes to the two-party system, no, I don't think the two-party system is the best effort. I do, however, think that a lot of us are still in a space where we're imagining something different. And until we move from imagining something different to actually creating something different, we still need to make it our business to use what's already here to bring us closer to where we want to go.
At the height of the civil rights movement, we had clear leaders like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Do you think we have that in today's society? Very clear leaders.
You know, I think it's just, we don't have very clear problems. Like, that's what we're finding out right now. Like, I think we are really identifying the very clear problems. For the past 20 years, a lot of folks will tell you, like, what's going on in their hood, but they don't think about it on a national scale, right? Like, we've always known police brutality was a very clear issue, but it wasn't until 2020 that folks really banded together like, oh, yo, this is really a global issue that we need to address, right? So when we look at, like, the leaders that we talk about, you know, because we always name Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, but there were other leaders like Fannie Lou Hamer and Reverend Shuttlesworth and Medgar Evers. Like, what they were all rallying around, by and large, at the time was voting rights. Right? But there were other issues, but it was voting rights was
galvanized to one issue.
To one issue, right? So when we right now are in America, I don't think that there's a one issue that we are all galvanized around. I think they've done a really good part of dividing and conquering, particularly by using religion to do so, to divide and conquer folks into thinking like, oh, well, you know, I'm black, but I don't rock with gays. Right? Or I'm Christian, so I don't support abortion. And so you get people that are now in all of these different pockets, and it's a way easier to control people when they separate than when we're together, galvanized behind one issue. So to me, I think that when we talk about leaders, we don't have like these singular leaders, but we have people who are definitely in like effort on a regular basis around certain issues. And we are going to see leaders elevate to that level as we see these issues elevate and become clearer. I mean, look at Tennessee. You know, you got Reverend Justin J. Pearson, not just Reverend, but Representative Justin J. Pearson and Representative Justin Jones. And, you know, they have been skyrocketed to national fame because they were very adamant about there needing to be just a vote on gun control.
Right.
And then they got silenced by the racist white folks in Tennessee. And now we know who they are. And I don't think anybody knew who they were outside of Tennessee until then.
Amanda, thank you so much for sharing your mind. In Amanda We Trust is out right now.
You can go to inamandawetrust.com. Go to inamandawetrust.com and check out this little thing I put together. And I thank y'all so much here at WRMB for supporting me and giving a space last night for folks to come and check it out.
And Amanda for president. I see you in politics, girl.
No, Mina, don't put that on me.
It's given.
I don't want it.
It's given. Vote for me.
I don't want it.
Amanda Seals, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mina Saywhat in your midday on 100.3 Philly's R&B.